This is a 2024 Nissan Pathfinder Platinum all-wheel drive, a 5th generation family-size crossover SUV from Nissan that spans from the budget-conscious family hauler to the off-road curious to this Pamper Me Please Platinum trim, which tops the Pathfinder lineup above the base S, SV, Rock Creek, which is the off-road friendly one, and the SL. If you're curious, I did already review a front-wheel drive Nissan Pathfinder SL when this generation was brand new for the 2022 model year. And I got a chance to play around with the new for 2023 Nissan Pathfinder Rock Creek last year. But since I just now got the chance to review this pinnacle of the Pathfinder, I jumped at it. So, how good can the Pathfinder get? Let's find out. I review all kinds of cars, and I have fun every time. Please subscribe and join me. The base price for a Nissan Pathfinder S with front-wheel drive is $37,345. Jumping into an all-wheel drive Pathfinder Platinum raises that price significantly, jumping it to $52,215. By the way, changing from front to all-wheel drive adds $1,900 to the Pathfinder's price, regardless of the trim. And finally, my test car did have a few options and cost $54,470. With that, now is a good time for me to pull over and show you around and inside this car in a bit more detail, show you a few of those options. Looking at the car from the front, you can see it's got just stronger lines than the 4th generation model. It does also have Nissan's trademark V-Motion grille. And this particular Pathfinder has the black appearance package, which means, among other things, that the V in the V-Motion grille is also black. I think the hood has a nice form as well, but while I do think that looks interesting, personally, I'm much more interested to see what's underneath it. Well, there you have it. A naturally aspirated 3.5 liter V6 transversely mounted or side to side across the engine bay like that. This is a front-wheel drive based crossover SUV, although this one in particular is all-wheel drive. So it is a pretty standard crossover SUV kind of setup. Also, windshield washer fluid is conveniently located right here, super easy. Looking at the car in profile, you get a nice view of the deep ocean blue metallic paint. Because this is a platinum trim Pathfinder, you also get this chrome piece down at the sills right here. And look at that, it says Pathfinder right there to remind you in case you forget. I will go ahead and put the dimensions up on the screen right now so you can check those out and let you know that I have a lot more information in the description. Because this is a platinum trim Pathfinder, we get 20-inch wheels and this nice pattern with this polished metal in the front and more of a dark black around the sides. I think it's a good look. And yes, this is a square setup. The wheels and tires in back are the same size as what's in front. Looking at the car in back, the black appearance package once again shows itself with the black emblems here and here. Yes, they're very proud to let you know it's a Pathfinder, and a touch more subtle to tell you it's an all-wheel drive Platinum Pathfinder. And yes, you can clearly see a nice tow hitch right here and the wiring hookup right there. All platinum trim Nissan Platinums can tow 6,000 pounds. I'll talk about more of that in just a moment. Behind the third row, you get 17 cubic feet of storage, and as you can see, these easily to fold headrests right here, they click in place. And underneath the floor, you also have some extra storage right here. Here, let me give you a closer look. And if you don't need to carry 3 rows worth of people and need more storage space, that is easy enough to do. Pull on these same straps. And now you have 45 cubic feet of storage and room for 4. If you need even more space than that, still easy to do. Pull a couple more levers, these on the seats, and now you have 81 cubic feet of storage and room for 2. And I would say plenty of room for my bike, but let's find out. Oh yeah, plenty of space. Nice and wide, plenty deep. Slid right in with no trouble at all. Yeah, okay, let's take a look inside. First thing we're going to do is start the car. Push button start is right here. And the reason I wanted to turn on the car is because we have a 3-zone climate control system. Pretty sweet. This interior color is called chestnut, and I think it's lovely. As you can see, I put one of the third row seats in its most upright position and the one right next to it in its most reclined position, so you can see the difference. Also, you can see based on how low the seat bottoms are that this is definitely built for kids. But the kids do get cup holders and USB charge ports, so it's decent accommodations back here. The second row, on the other hand, is definitely for adults. Also, because this particular Pathfinder has the second row captain's chair package, not only do I have captain's chairs, I have heated captain's chairs. Beneath that, I have a USB Type-C and standard USB Type-A port, charge port right there, and even some AC power right there. Also, more comfort back here because we have manual rear sunshades. And no, we don't have one center armrest right here. We each get our own individual armrest right here, and it is lovely. All right, to the front. As you can see, this is actually a two-tone interior with the chestnut up high and a more traditional black down low. We do have the usual controls on the door, as well as 2-position seat memory right here. We also have the $945 lighting package, which means we get an aluminum metal kick plate right here, which is hard to tell during the day, but it is in fact illuminated. We also get welcome lighting, which is really hard to see during the day, but trust me, it's there. The seats themselves are semi-aniline leather, and they look like that, and they do look awfully comfortable. We have nice deep bolsters up here and decent bolsters down here as well. We do also have plenty of controls for the seat, including lumbar support right there. As you can see on this 12.3-inch fully digital instrument cluster, it is only 19 degrees outside, so you'll forgive me for letting the climate control do its thing and having the heated seat on full blast. Yes, we have both heated and ventilated seats in the Nissan Pathfinder Platinum and a heated steering wheel as well. Also, because it's a Platinum, we have a head-up display right there, and next to that, a 9-inch center console touchscreen. Now, this comes with wireless Apple CarPlay, but wired Android Auto. Interesting dichotomy there. Beneath that, here are your first 2 of the 3-zone climate control zones, and beneath that, on SL trims and higher, we get a wireless smartphone charger right there. Beneath that, we get this fairly compact looking Prindle with a push button for park, and then another button right here to put it in reverse or drive. And beneath that, we do have an electric parking brake and several drive modes, which I'll talk about in just a moment. Looking up, we do get a glasses holder and controls for our panoramic moonroof right here, which is standard on the Platinum Edition Pathfinder, and it includes an electrically driven privacy panel. Lovely. Even lovelier. All right, let's talk drive modes. As I said, you get several. First of all, if you push this button right here, that is hill descent control, and a little icon starts flashing right there. But the drive modes themselves are auto, snow, mud and rut, and sand, to kind of show off its off-roading chops a little bit. Though in a Platinum trim, I'm not sure you'd want to do that a ton. But go the other direction, and you get eco, sport, and tow. You saw the trailer hitch. Nissan claims you can tow 6,000 pounds with this Pathfinder, so having a tow haul mode, which changes the way the transmission and the engine behaves, would be a good thing. While I won't be towing anything in this review, I will play around with sport mode a little bit, but we'll probably stick to auto for most of the time. But to do that, we better get back to the drive. And if you want a more in-depth look at this Nissan Pathfinder's exterior interior, I did do a separate video on that, which goes into more detail. That should pop up in the corner, and I'll also have a link to it in the description. All right, now let's get back to the drive. All right, let's dig into the powertrain. where does 284 horsepower and 259 pound-feet of torque come from? Well, as it has done for a few years now, it comes from a naturally aspirated 3.5-liter V6. And that's becoming increasingly rare these days. More and more turbochargers and hybrids, etc., etc. Being naturally aspirated, this V6 gets its peak horsepower at a relatively high 6,400 RPM, which is kind of sweet, but there is a flip side to that. Torque peak doesn't come until 4,800 RPM. But good news again, this V6 does freely spin up to 6,600 RPM, which is a nice and higher than average red line. Even better, you get 284 horsepower and 259 pound-feet of torque on regular fuel. With that in mind, the Infiniti QX60, which is Infiniti's version of the Pathfinder in general form anyway, gets this same basic engine but asks for premium fuel. What you get as a result of that premium fuel is 11 more horsepower and 11 more pound-feet of torque. 295 horsepower, 270 pound-feet of torque. That's what the fuel difference grants you. Funny enough, there's only one Nissan Pathfinder that will accept premium fuel and give you that little bump in power and torque, and that's the Rock Creek. I'm surprised it's the Rock Creek and not the Platinum, but hey, if you're curious, I did review the Infiniti QX60 as well, and I'll go ahead and put a link in the description, and it should pop up right there. What came new to the powertrain for the 5th generation Nissan Pathfinder was a 9-speed automatic transmission, and that is a very, very welcome change. It was a CVT before that, and just having real gears meshing with each other and having nice fast shifts and a direct linear feel from the transmission is a big benefit. And with 9 speeds, we get a nice wide ratio range, and it shifts quickly as well when you need it to. Every single Nissan Pathfinder is available in either front or all-wheel drive, and you pay that $1,900 difference if you want all-wheel drive. There is one exception to that, however, that is the Pathfinder Rock Creek. That one is all-wheel drive only. But getting back to this transmission, having a 9-speed gearbox does mean that when you floor it, you get a pretty decent response and then good pull, good quick shifts, and a nice linear feel. Generally speaking, we got to give credit to the engine as well. Having a naturally aspirated engine is so nice because the buildup in power is linear, and it's so much easier to get like a nice feel from this car and have a good understanding of what power is underneath you. No weird surges or anything like that. And the fact that we don't have a CVT but a 9-speed automatic transmission just adds to that linearity and like dependability of the response you're going to get, and I really appreciate that. More and more, a powertrain layout like this is becoming kind of, I don't know, old school, but there's a lot to like about old school. Now, that was in the auto driving mode. If I shift it to eco, it's going to be a little bit slower with the throttle map and a little bit more hesitant to kick down a gear, but if I floor it, once you get the kick down, you still get the good pull. Now, we can go the other way and put it to sport mode. Now, it's going to be more likely to stay in a lower gear, and it's going to be a little bit more anxious to shift for you. So, floor it again. Yeah, and there you go. Good response, good powertrain in this Nissan Pathfinder. I'm really genuinely happy with that. All right, back in automatic so it'll behave itself. To be totally honest, at first look at the peak torque figures and horsepower figures, it's a tiny bit underwhelming. But having driven this car around a little bit, it genuinely performs just as well as the competition when it comes to not only accelerating, but also the smoothness and refinement of the feel of it as you're accelerating. Yeah, genuinely, quite good. And considering everything, fuel economy is not all that bad either. You get 20 miles to the gallon in the city, 25 miles to the gallon on the highway, 22 combined. Ultimately, those numbers just on their face are so-so, but the Platinum trim being better equipped and a bit heavier and all-wheel drive does hurt your fuel economy a little bit. You can get a Nissan Pathfinder that gets better fuel economy. I'll go ahead and put those numbers up right there. You can get up to 27 miles to the gallon on the interstate. Also, having this nice old school and robust powertrain does make me a little bit more confident about towing. Nissan says that the Pathfinder can tow up to 6,000 pounds, which gets you well into Class 3 territory. That gets you a pretty darn healthy boat, a reasonably sized camper, and even some utility trailers as well. Now, the 6,000 pound towing capacity is not for every Pathfinder. 6,000 pounds is what you get as standard for the Rock Creek and this Platinum trim, but standard towing capacity is 3,500 pounds for the other Pathfinders. There are options to get the SV and SL up to the 6,000 pound towing capacity, but you have to pay a little extra for it. While towing capacity may be important to some, and in a lot of ways fuel economy is important to everyone, neither of which is nearly as much fun as accelerating. Of course I had to test that. Let me show you right now. Okay everybody, time for an acceleration test. I do have the Platinum in the sport driving mode, and let's see how it goes. Okay, coming to a complete stop. Hard on the throttle. Bit of wheel spin. Tiny bit of a short shift for the first to second gear shift, but yeah, good acceleration. Nice. Yeah, that's healthy. Really, really good. Surprisingly good, actually. I was a little concerned in the modern era where turbo engines have much bigger numbers to work with that this Pathfinder wasn't going to feel too quick, but the transmission shifted quickly and we had nice, smooth, linear power delivery. And yeah, plenty of power to get this Pathfinder moving. Great acceleration. All right, let's dig into the chassis a little bit. How does this Pathfinder ride? Well, the interior in a lot of ways is quite nice. I have to say that the center console touchscreen does feel the tiniest bit small compared to what's out there in the modern world these days, but it's 95% as good. It's just a little bit on the small side compared to some others. Still easy to read and easy to use, and it has all the features that I would expect, so no problem there. I really appreciate that we have heated and ventilated seats. I always like having a heated steering wheel, especially this time of year, and the seats themselves do provide good support and comfort. The refinement of the chassis is not the best, but it's competitive, it's reasonable, and Nissan did a good job to compromise between ride and handling. It's soft and supple and can absorb bumps in the road without trouble, without the Pathfinder feeling floaty or uncontrolled at any point in time. And that's true on roads like this or on the interstate. I did test it there as well. Let me show you that. All right, everybody, time for a quick stint on the interstate. See how this Nissan Pathfinder feels. We do have a bunch of driving aids, of course. Nissan calls it Safety Shield 360. It is standard equipment, but this car also has the optional Pro Pilot Assist, which does do a little bit more. Anyway, I'll put the entire list up on the screen right now for you to check out, and let's see how it feels. Okay, cruise control is set at 78 miles an hour to go with traffic. Also, I have all the assists on, steering assist, Pro Pilot Assist, the whole thing. At this speed, we are spinning around 1,800 RPM, so the 3.5 liter V6 is humming along nice and slowly in the background. 9-speed automatic transmission, giving us a nice wide ratio range to work with. Also, this Pathfinder does a pretty darn good job to isolate the cabin. We are hearing some wind noise. There's some buffeting going around, like the side view mirrors and things like that, and the roof rails as well, for sure. But none of it's all that loud or intrusive, so it's pleasant enough. Also, these seats are really comfortable, and of course, the heated seats are on right now because it's nice and cold, and I'm enjoying that very much. So yeah, at a fundamental level, this is a very pleasant car to be on the open road in. And we are coming up on a curve here, so I'll take my hands off the wheel. And yeah, lane centering did its job and kept us center in the lane. Also, real quick, we do have a nice visual on the digital instrument cluster, so let me briefly show you that. You can see that it has 2 green lines on either side of a lane with an image of a Pathfinder right there to give you a sense of being centered in the lane. If we drift to one side of the lane, that goes orange to let you know that things aren't right. Also, this indicator right here, that little hands on the steering wheel, that's your indication that steering assist is on. So anyway, yeah, it's a nice little graphic to get a better sense of what the Nissan Pathfinder sees on the road. Generally speaking, I would have to say I'm perfectly pleasant in this SUV, and we've got a lot of space inside. We've got a lot of features to make it comfortable inside. The seats are inherently comfortable, and the on-road behavior is actually a little bit better than I expected. So yeah, great road trip car, this Nissan Pathfinder Platinum. So what do I think of this 2024 Nissan Pathfinder Platinum all-wheel drive? There's a lot of strengths to this thing. I like this powertrain quite a lot. I like having a naturally aspirated engine and a 9-speed automatic transmission that just gets the job done smoothly, dependably. It's just a nice feeling thing. Also, all the luxuries that the Platinum offer does elevate this Pathfinder's feel just a little bit. It does have just that little bit extra compared to that front-wheel drive SL I tested a while ago. Ultimately, this doesn't feel like the most comfortable SUV at this price, but the price Nissan is charging for the Platinum gives it a chance to play the value card a little bit. You're getting more for your money than you would in some other products, and that makes it competitive again. And 6,000 pounds of towing capacity is above average in this class. So that makes this the family SUV for the person that's looking for a little bit more muscle for towing, a little bit more ruggedness, but to still be able to pamper their family as well without breaking the budget. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you for watching. And if you like this video, please show me by giving it a thumbs up. Doing so helps me out a lot, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, I've done a bunch of reviews like this, and also car news and track reviews and detailed walkarounds and all kinds of things. So if you have any interest in keeping up with the auto industry at all, please subscribe to my channel. That also helps me out a lot, and I'd also really appreciate that. With that in mind, there are actually a couple of other SUVs that are in the class of the Pathfinder that are pretty interesting. One is the Honda Pilot, specifically the Honda Pilot Elite. Now that one is a little bit more expensive than this one, but in my opinion, drives really, really well. And it's a little bit bigger too, so it has more space. If you have any interest in checking that out, I have a link in the description and it should pop up right there. Also, there's the Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy. That one doesn't drive as well as the Honda in my opinion, but offers even more luxury for its price. It's actually quite nice in there. So depending on where your interests are, that could be a compelling choice as well. I'll also have a link to that review in the description, and it should also pop up right there right now. Or maybe you're interested in something else entirely. Well, like I said, I have reviewed a bunch of stuff by now. Something will pop up on the screen next to me. Hopefully that's something you're interested in, and if you do end up watching it, I definitely hope you like it. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you very much for watching.
Now, eat pizza and make sure you like this video or else.